Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys ACGHK figure preview video. Before we begin, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for coming out with me in person to the convention and snapping these gorgeous high-res pictures, as well as these fantastic intro videos. Show Ryan some love in the comments below because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. If these two ever actually go up for pre-order, I will pop some links to Pop Collectibles in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new convention figure preview video goes live on the channel. This was a massive surprise, but a welcome one. You see, Batman and Robin is undeniably a terrible movie. It's fun, it's campy, it's a lot of things, but it's awful. Still, young kid Justin, he didn't know that. He thought that this was the best movie ever. I loved the shit out of this movie when I was a kid. I was not a critic, I was a young lad, and this movie, yeah, I couldn't get enough of it. When I went to Warner Brothers Movie World on the Gold Coast with my mum, I just couldn't wait to take pictures with the actors in these two costumes. Now, potentially getting to own them in 1/6 scale, I could not be happier. Let's start off with Robin first. So we do get the little blaster with this beautiful metallic red paint on it and the heat blast effect coming out of it. Some other little wingdings and batarangs and bits and pieces. It's been ages since I've watched the movie, so please forgive me if I don't know what all of this stuff is called. But the round ones might be my personal favorite of the bunch. I wouldn't be surprised if the hands were just the same exact Robin hands that we got with Robin from Batman Forever. There is more leather grain texture and detail on the hands at the front versus the ones at the back though. So maybe the hands are a work in progress, or the ones at the front are newer, they're brand new sculpts, versus the ones up the back, they're just the original ones from the first Chris O'Donnell Robin release. They have this subtle icy blue metallic finish to them, which is accurate to the real life costume. I have seen it in person, and this looks pretty much as close as I think Hot Toys could get with the materials that they use in 1/6 scale. Going with the old school square footprint DX base with the non-functional lights on it, not my favorite base design. Still, it does match the Batman Forever figures, and I like the logos, so yeah. I'm not going to complain too much, I'll allow it. The boots are not a split-cut boot design, and if they are using their most up-to-date technology for 1/6 scale boots, being that soft rubbery stuff so you can still get plenty of range of motion out of them whilst not having to do a split cut, then yes, that's fine with me. If they're just solid sculpted plastic boots, then no, not fine with me. So Hot Toys, please give this guy some soft rubbery boots. We do have the Nightwing/Robin logos on the tops of the boots. Now, I'm not sure why Hot Toys makes these suits in the way that they do. Let me explain. So, for the movie, you can see how the thigh armor ends and then there's a knee pad over the top of it, right? The way they made these was the armor bits were foam latex, and they were glued down over a coated neoprene/spandexy wetsuit material. That meant you could get way more range out of them for stunts, and there were breaks in the armor, so it wasn't just one seamless piece of rubber. In 1/6 scale, they are just head to toe one piece of rubber, which means limited articulation, creasing, damage, peeling, delamination if you go crazy with the posing. At least the color looks about right with that metallic sheen for the red and that ice blue over the top of the black sections, but not how I was hoping they would approach these suits if they were ever going to get around to making them, which seems to be a possibility now that they've made these prototypes. The one thing that's sticking out at me is the nipples aren't as detailed as they're supposed to be. I am so sorry, but they're supposed to have concentric circles on them at the top and the bottom. Here they're just very dull and smooth looking, and that is not accurate to Robin's nipples. I can't believe I'm saying nipples this many times in a video, but anyway, we'll move on from the nipples. They're supposed to be more detailed. They're a lot softer than they actually were in the film. The cape does not look like it's wired, and that's okay as long as it drapes properly. There's this waxy-like texture over the top. For the most part, it looks like an all-fabric cape, no pleather. The collar is a separate piece that sits over the top of the cape to hold it in place, and then we have the head sculpt. It's a single piece with the neck and the sculpt going into the collar and plugging into the suit itself. The Batman Forever Chris O'Donnell sculpt didn't have moving eyes. Now would be the time to give us moving eyes. Seeing as though it's a single piece neck sculpt and there's no real way they could disguise a split cut for the hairline where the back panel could come off and we could reach inside to move them round, maybe the domino mask could be removable. Then we could move the eyes around and pop the domino mask right back on, keeping everything seamless, and that way we wouldn't have to take off the head sculpt every time we want to move the eyes around. This does look like a really solid sculpt. I can see Chris O'Donnell from almost every angle. I wouldn't be surprised if this was based off the Forever sculpt. That one I already loved, and this maybe looks even a little bit better than that first attempt at capturing his likeness in 1/6 scale. Is this figure more iconic than the red and green and yellow color scheme of that Forever Robin? Probably not, but this gets a lot closer to the Nightwing look, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people take the cape off and use him as a Nightwing in their Arkham display, perhaps. Okay, moving on to George Clooney. This looks like a very, very early prototype because some of the things to do with the cowl, yeah, not quite as good as I was hoping. Also, they're missing one very crucial accessory. If you have seen the movie, you know what that accessory is. They could have given us a hand holding the Bat credit card. Valid through forever, of course, just like it said in the movie. We do get a bunch of gadgets, including the heat zapper thing that he uses to unfreeze Robin with. The effect part, I would imagine, is detachable. Some mini batarangs, a saw blade piece, and some other gadgets. Once again, I'm so sorry. It's been ages since I've seen Batman and Robin, so I'm not quite sure what everything here does. Say what you will about the movie, visually speaking, these gadgets have some pizzazz, man. They're wacky, they're out there, they're different looking as compared to like Keaton's more utilitarian gadgets. We've got so many Bat logos. He will stand out in the display holding a massive chrome bat symbol in his hands. It's not actually chrome though, it's just painted in metallic silver with a wash over the top. Are these hands the same as the hands that we got with Val Kilmer's Batman? Probably. The gestures look pretty much identical. And it's slim pickings when it comes to hands, open palms, closed fists, some trigger finger hands, and some Batarang holding hands. Please, Hot Toys, add one with the Batman and Robin credit card in his hand. We absolutely need that. The display base, exactly the same as Robin, the 3D Batman and Robin logo up top, and we've got this gradiented red effect where it's brighter in the middle. The boots, still not a split cut boot design, but they are different as compared to Robin's. Now that I'm thinking about it, hang on a second. Where are the pop-out ice skates? They have to do the pop-out ice skates. They're iconic, they're synonymous with that movie. So there is time to add them on, maybe just some magnetic pieces or even some pegs on the underside of the boots, where you remove some chunks of the tread, then you can plug the ice skates in. For the top of Batsy's boots, we do have some big, chunky bat symbols. And his suit is made of the exact same stuff and done in the same style as Robin's. A head-to-toe piece of just thick, rubbery stuff. This does potentially mean that in the future we could get a Panther suit figure for Kilmer from Batman Forever. And if that happens, I will be one happy collector because I've always adored the Panther suit. Some early pictures of this at the convention did make it look like it was just all black, but it isn't. It does have that signature metallic icy blue effect on the surface. It's only visible from certain angles, like right there, you can see that metallic blue. Just depends how light is bouncing off it, then the blue presents itself. The all black look for the suit with the dark chest symbol and the dark belt, not my vibe. I prefer to have a little bit of yellow and gold in the mix just to break up that very dark look for the front of the suit. Even the chest symbol is all one color. I'm not sure how articulation is going to work with this particular suit because the chest symbol is attached to the cowl and the top part of the head is just all one piece with the neck guard, so for range of motion, probably no. Probably non-existent. I highly doubt he's going to be able to turn his head sculpt. It looks like the cape is made of the same stuff as Robin's. It's got that metallic blue tint to it, and it's tucked underneath the cowl rather than being held in place by those teeny tiny cape clips. There is some simulated wrinkling just above the base of the gauntlet and below the bicep armor. That's where the neoprene wetsuit material is supposed to be. Just doing one mass sculpt out of rubber from head to toe, yes, from a production standpoint, is probably easier for manufacturing. It's not great for articulation, though. We've already been through it. We'll move on now. At least his arms can go flush down by his sides, not like what we saw with Arkham City Batman, where his arms were out permanently at an angle, making him look goofy as hell. Okay, let's talk about this head sculpt. Does it look like George Clooney? Maybe, if you squint and look at it from a distance, but front on, up close, I can't really see the Clooney likeness. If they're only ever going to give us one version of George Clooney's Batman, they need to nail the head sculpt, and I don't think they have. The shape of the eye sockets aren't quite right. Yes, they're supposed to be big, but they're meant to have more of a defined point towards the bottom, more triangular, if you will. There is some skin tone poking through the black eye makeup, that is accurate, but the gap between the bottom of his nose and then the top of his lips is far too big, and that's throwing off the likeness. The eyes look like they are movable, and that may help depending on the angle that they're at. If you have them off to the side, potentially that will bring out more of the likeness. I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and see when this guy goes up for pre-order if they end up refining the head sculpt. So at the end of this, yes, they need work. Yes, it's probably going to be years before we see these put up for pre-order. I don't care about any of that. I am so freaking in. Let's go, Hot Toys. We need more figures from this movie. Bane, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, and of course, Batgirl. We absolutely must have the trio. Now, I will put some links to Pop Collectibles in the description below if these ever actually end up going up for pre-order. And I'll also include the discount code Justin's Collection down there for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.